Hey, high levelers. In case you missed going to the Level Up Summit this year, I made this quick video here to go over all the new AI updates, really not all of them, but some of the major updates. And I really want to go over some of the AI pricing because that's one of the things that a lot of my affiliates have issues with and were coming back to me after Summit saying, hey, Ray, I really don't understand this whole pricing model that High Level has switched up because now they've got AI employee and now they're using a token-based system and I'm confused. What does all this mean? What should I do? And as always, being a good high level affiliate, I'm here for my affiliates. I'm here to help you out. Every time there's upgrades, you can always come back to me. So let's hop into it and go over some of the major AI updates here. And again, this is going to be quick, just a quick overview. I want to touch on some of the pricing, and then I also want to go over Agent Studio here as well, briefly. So right now, here's where we got. And I've got a list of this. Let me get back to my list and make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, so let's start with just the voice AI. So right now, voice AI, one of the biggest things that happened was now you have inbound and outbound calling. I'm going to get to outbound calling in just a little bit when I go over the other features for the voice AI agents. So here inside of the voice AI agents, if you come here, just open this up, there are some noticeable changes I want to show you. So here, if you take a look here, one of the biggest things that you're going to see is that high level, first of all, if you didn't know, high level is completely based upon ChatGPT as a backend AI platform. And a lot of people just thought this was limiting and it didn't give them the ability to go back and use other systems like Claude or Gemini and things like that inside of the AI, because some people may not like ChatGPT. They might want to prefer using another platform. High Level is integrating other AI systems into High Level. So you don't have to use ChatGPT if you don't want to, but it's not completely here yet. So let me just show you real quick. If you take a look at this particular screen, give me a second here. So if you take a look here, notice that you have this new dropdown that's right on the main screen, LLM model. That's a language model that you could choose from. So here's one of the things I do want to introduce to you. There are all of the ChatGPTs. So you can go up to 5 if you want. Notice that they've got costs next to them. Don't freak out. Okay, right now, this is what High Level is recommending, this particular version. I don't know why, I like 5 myself, but anyway, they also allow you to use Claude, Gemini, and so forth down here. The voice AI here that you're taking a look at is the first and the only component of High Level at this particular time that actually has a choice on the LLM model. Now, here's one of the things I went over and over with support again, even at the High Level Summit on Level Up here, Level Up, as well as over a course of several other support phone calls. I've had to go to some of the top engineers to get this and make sure I bring you their most accurate information. But inside of the pricing model for AI employee, it still does include voice AI, inbound voice AI, and then all the conversation AI and all the features that you normally get here. Now, these costs right here don't mean anything if you have the AI employee feature. No matter what option you choose here for LLM model, the AI employee will completely cover you. Okay, that is something that I did get confirmed from High Level. Now, one of the things that they do show a price next to it is this. If you're using a pay-as-you-go plan, then these prices are what actually you're going to be charged for, depending upon which one you use. So that's why they've got costs here. And right now, as you can take a look there, they don't even have some of the images here for Claude and Gemini, but High Level is continuing to upgrade. And over the next few months, they are going to be bringing this LLM model into conversation AI and extending that even into the Agent Studio, which is still not there yet. Again, voice AI is the only component that has this LLM model configured on it yet. So that is one of the major things that we see. That's a major update here from the summit, is this new LLM model here that we could choose from. Another one is down here in the bottom, this outbound calling. Now, when you do inbound calling, of course, you all know if you've ever worked with AI employee, that you can have a prompt. Hey, you've reached Digi Global Agency. By the way, that's just a demo that I'm using here. How can I help you today? Very basic, very simple, almost out of the box. When you do outbound, now you have different settings that you can configure. So right now you could choose your disclaimer style, how you want it done. It's just a matter of how it's said. Disclaimer preview. This is what it goes over here. And notice that you cannot change it. Outbound calling has gotten really restrictive. And when I get to that point, you're going to understand why on this one here. But the outbound calling, the AI team has really just clamped down and not made it impossible, but has made it a lot more hoops you have to go through from a compliance perspective to make it work. And I'm going to go over several of those. But again, this right here is just a high level agent's intent message. So these are all the different things that you could choose from inbound and outbound calling. So right now, that's really about the only thing that's really majorly changed from at least the voice AI agent perspective, at least from the visual screen. You can still come in here and select your knowledge base and so forth. But speaking of knowledge bases, I would like to hop over and take a look at those. If you take a look here, if you click on knowledge base, hopefully High Level gets this thing fixed. I fixed the menu options, but now everything has been moved under AI agent. So if you come under AI agents, notice that here at the very top, you get started, Agent Studio, which we'll get to, voice AI, conversation AI, knowledge base, and some of these other templates and things like that. So the knowledge base AI is gotten really good. They've included a couple of new features in the knowledge base that I really want to take the point and show to you. So this right here is a test that I've just created. Now here we've always had the web crawler, That's just the ability to go out and put in a web address and have it go to the company's website. You can go ahead and crawl. And then from there, you can sit back and crawl the entire website. You can also do frequently asked questions. So the frequently asked questions, again, you can just put in a manual question and get an answer from that. Not a problem. But now they've included tables, rich text, and file uploads. So now if you wanted to, you could really just put massive amounts of information in here, upload just tons of data into the AI agent, making it a lot easier for you to sit back and upload. So if you have video scripts and you have communication scripts and text scripts of all the ways that you've communicated, you can literally program AI on how to speak. But here, if you take a look, notice that you've got tables. So if you want to do a file upload, you can click here to browse, and supports PDF, doc, and then docx. So all of those are supported, which is pretty cool. So that's a great extension that HighLevel has completed from a knowledge base perspective to make the AI just much easier to program and much easier for you to program, because you can use your existing documents and things like that, even to some respect, your standard operating procedures that you actually have. Train some bots to do that just using your SOPs. So anyway, that was one of the other things that I really wanted to show you was that. Let me hop back into my notes real quick. Okay. Right now, what I want to do is real quick, go back into Voice AI and show you some of the outbound calling features here before I move on. Now, before you can start using outbound calling, you have to come over here to the top right. Notice there's enable outbound calls right here. Okay. You need to make sure that you can click on this. Now, I'm not going to go over all of this because this is an extensive process. I want to walk you through it because I was actually involved in the beta version of this, walked through and did all this stuff. So it really is intensive, but I don't want to walk you through all this, but you can do it yourself. But what happens is this. Whenever you're configuring outbound calling for this, you need to make sure that all of the input forms, and these are forms that you already have, that you might already have like a little T&C on it or a disclaimer about this, that doesn't mean anything. Those disclaimers, ultimately, if you're doing outbound calling, need to go away. You need to just remove them from your forms because you will need to now put a new branded T&C. It has to be approved. You have to go through this compatibility checker. So I'm just going to run this a little bit, at least get to a certain point. So it's going to run and it's going to check all your forms, the forms that have the current T&C and those kind of consent areas to make sure the consent is compliant for doing AI outbound calling. Again, it has to be very concise. The messaging has to be very clear. Otherwise, the compatibility checker will not let you do this. So again, if you wanted to, you could just proceed with, you can move forward and proceed. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come up with, and HighLevel gives you some examples here, that you can sit back and actually create a new compliance script that has to be put on the forms. Now, here's one of the things that's going to be important. When you do this through the compatibility checker, the compliance check, the little compliance checkbox cannot be removed. It's no longer an element that can be clicked on and removed. That element is on the form every time. Now, here's the thing that really sucks about this. If you create a new form and you want that new form to give compliance a checklist on outbound calling, you have to rerun the compatibility check. And this tool has to put that consent on the form. Hopefully that makes sense because you can't do it yourself. It's not an element like a T&C inside of the forms builder where you can drag and drop. You can't do that. All of this is done strictly through HighLevel, through the compliance checker. You have to go through here and then select the form and have that compliance put on that form. When it's on the form, here's another thing that you need to make sure that you do. People have to fill out that form in order for you to do an outbound calling to them. Because if you don't, the call will fail. If these people, whenever you go through the form, if you ever fill out a form, let me see if I could do this real quick. So if you come to the form builder from here, and if you ever come here and look at, I guess, just your form submissions, right here we go, submissions. So you just take a look here. If you ever have any, this is where all of the people that fill out your forms are. The person that you want to do outbound calling has to have a submission for the form that has an authorized consent check on this box in order for the workflow to actually send out this call. There's some other restrictions too, but I'm just trying to be specific because these are the things I ran across whenever I configured this, and you're going to get these same issues too if you don't follow my advice here. So let me hop into the automation to show you the second part of some of the restrictions. Now here I did create I believe an outbound calling script. So here there is now a new action called Voice AI outbound calling. If you click on this, and I'm going to sit back and give me a second here because I believe I'm actually in the way. Let me move myself over here. But I want to blow this up some to make sure we look at these. These are some additional guidelines that are actually inside of the action itself. Calls are made at the rate of 1 call per minute per location. Each location can make up that many calls a day. Phone number can be used only once per day. Any additional follow schedule for the next day. Again, I'm just going to let you take a look at them here, but these are all the restrictions on doing outbound calling. So just be careful. Make sure that whenever you do your nurture campaign or your nurture sequence for this, that you utilize and combine the compliance that we talked about with the forms, meaning people have to submit a new form, even if they've already given you compliance check, to send them an SMS message, in email, any of that other stuff. That does not matter. You have to actually get a new compliance check using the compliance checker I just showed you on the form. They have to refill out the form again. right now, at least as of this video, again. And then once you actually have them fill out and they're in the submissions area of that form, then high level will go through and they'll check to see if that particular contact record has filled out the form and has a submission. Once that happens, then an outbound call could be made using these rules that we see right here. Now, do you see what I mean as far as outbound calling, just how restrictive it is? But as you heard from the summit, if you weren't there, Billy Jean has been using this for several months, already made like $40,000 just on the AI robotic calls of just following up with people and using this to get people onboarded. It's incredible. It's a great new feature here to be able to start using, but there are some restrictions, and you do need to make sure that you incorporate all of these new features into your overall plan. So hopefully that makes sense. Alrighty. So the next thing I want to talk about here is the pricing update. So right now, there is a nice helpful article. It's called AI Product Pricing Update. So right now with this, I just want to make sure that you understand the AI Employee Unlimited plan. If you have that, you can still purchase it. That's still available, and it still covers all the same stuff that was there before the summit. Okay. Now, I do want to sit back and show you some of the things here. Please specifically is right here. The Agent Studio Voice AI widget. Remember the new voice call widget, chat widget that you can put on our website? That's another one that's on here. That's a cool feature. That's pretty straightforward. It's just under the chat widgets. You just go there, but there's now a voice AI chat widget that can make a phone call right from the web, right to voice AI, and have a full conversation. Pretty cool. And then voice AI outbound services. Those are not covered under the unlimited plan. Users of these services will be charged under a pay per use plan. So if you wanted to, here's some of the things that you take a look at here. The voice AI pricing. If this is what you're looking for, if you're depending on what model you're using, these are some of the other calls, but this right here is a great one to sit back and look over to look at what the cost, what the pricing is. Agent Studio has its own pricing. I'm going to show you that quickly here. Agent Studio is still very rough, by the way. So there's not a whole lot there yet, but I am going to show you a few things. So here's some of the other things regarding just image creations and things like that that you can do. Workflow AI pricing. So you get the point. All of these are on here and very reasonable, but moving forward, and here's just something I want to make sure that you understand. High level, this is the first time I've actually seen this with high level in a help article, is using AI employees subject to the terms of service. So if high level really sees that just for some reason that it's being overused, or I think if the expenses are going pretty high on it, then they have the right to throttle you back, have your stuff not work right, or even cancel your AI employee services. So I know that kind of sucks. They do want to throw that in there for a fair use policy, but sometimes people are really using and abusing this very much. Anyway, I want to put that in there with you as well. So there are different pricing models for this. Now, the other thing I want to make sure that you understand is when you start dealing with this, there are going to start being tokens. So when you start looking at AI pricing models, if you take a look here, just for example here, that this is the input price for 1 million tokens, like a million tokens in here. And I just want to show you real quickly here, just what that is. If you're not familiar, AI tokens is not something specific to high level. It really has to do with AI and AI usage. But right now, just real quick, I want to give this to you, just an AI token, the smallest unit of data, like a word, part of a word, punctuation, that the AI, LLM, whatever LLM model, because they're different, processes to understand and generate language. So it's the smallest amount of unit. And now that I know is not very descriptive, but I do want to show you how you can calculate the number of tokens you're going to be using moving forward. That's a pretty cool thing that you use. I'm actually going to use this with ChatGPT, but you would actually need to do this with whatever LLM model you're currently using, and then put in basically your prompts and things like that. And then based upon the prompts, the prompt usage, what you're asking for and what you're going to be doing inside of it here, that could cost you more. So right now, just keep in mind, these are very limited here. So again, these are for output. So you see Google, for some of these, ChatGPT is $2 per million tokens or something like that. So it is small, but again, if you use this a lot and you got like really huge, complicated prompts, this could cost you money. This could start adding up a little bit. So just want to make sure that you understood that. Now, having said that, one of the things I do want to sit back and show you here is about the token. How do you calculate this? So what I did is I went to this AI agent, voice AI agent, and I just picked an agent. I think it was this one. And I went to agent goals, and this right here is the advanced view of the prompt. I sat back and just simply copied this entire, I think this is a default prompt in here. So I just want to copy just the default prompt that voice AI gives you. And then what I wanted to do here is plug this into ChatGPT. And here's what I did. I basically just said, and I'm sorry if you can't read this. Let me see if I can move myself back over here. Please tell me how many tokens are contained within this prompt. Okay. And you could do something very similar to that in Claude or Gemini. And then I just put quotation marks to what I did. And then I just copied the entire prompt here and let it run. It did run for a little bit, but here's what it said. The prompt contains approximately 1,350 tokens, rounded to the nearest whole number. So the basic voice AI prompt uses 1,350 tokens, just as an example of it doing this. Now, here's one of the things I'm not going to say I'm an absolute, I know everything about this, but I don't know if these tokens are used every time that the AI systems are executed, or if it's only used one time whenever the prompt is absorbed initially, whenever the voice AI agent is saved and then reinitialize. That I'm not 100% about. I just want to show you how moving forward, you could take any prompt that you're currently using and then show how many tokens that particular prompt is using inside of the system, just to give you an idea. Because if you're moving to a token-based system, you should have an understanding of how many tokens you're using. Now, having said that, let me just think. I think that's about all I have right now. So just to go over the AI pricing for this, last and not least is the AI Agent Studio. So Agent Studio is high-level first attempt at creating a drag-and-drop graphical agent, AI agent interface. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been going back and forth with support on this right now. And as of right now, the only connections and support that the Agent Studio has is to Ask AI inside of HighLevel. Now, Ask AI is that's a whole other platform that really got a lot of cool updates, but I'm not going to go over all that. I'm just trying to keep this concise just to the components here of AI agents inside of here, not Ask AI, but these things in here, by the way, this thing listed as customer service here, just to give you an idea, this thing that says customer service is considered a bot. It's not considered a workflow. It's not considered an automation. These are considered bots. So I wanted to make sure I use the right terminology so I can give this to you. So you can use the right terminology. But inside of Agent Studio, everything that you create is called a bot. Now, let's take a look at some of the things inside of the bot. The bot itself is really limited right now. Even HighLevel says that because they're still working. There's several things that they want to get done. First of all, I think this is pretty cool. Now, I told you I had access to the beta versions of these before HighLevel Summit, and I was playing around with them and dealing with it. And if you take a look here, there's an element here in the middle called AI router. Now, AI router, notice if you take a look over here on the left-hand side, there's no AI router here. There's no element for AI router because HighLevel pulled it back from development and removed it. They're re-engineering it, and then they're actually going to be redeploying it. So this AI router is what really the Agent Studio is waiting on in order to make this a really effective visual workflow. Because as you can see, it is completely visual, meaning I'm trying to blow this up and make sure that people can see this. Unfortunately, these things are large. So you start here, and then what you end up doing is adding an agent node. Okay, so you add an agent node. If you click on the agent node, you got this delete or edit. If you edit it, you can put in a prompt. The prompt can say, what is it that this bot is supposed to do at this time? So this could be recaller, do something. If it's with conversation AI, if that's what you've got, then it can sit back and respond to people. Here's the cool thing about this right here. Notice that you've got this AI model. But notice right here, all it is Chat GPT. These are the only models we got. We don't have Claude or Gemini in here yet. These are some of the features I told you about earlier that they're going to be adding. Some of the other cool things that you can actually add in here that people have been looking for are these variables. So right now you can have global variables, you can have runtime variables, but these are going to be cool because these are going to be ways, at least I feel, and I haven't been able to effectively create these things yet because it is so limited. I just want to show you some of the then components and how it all fits together. But some of these variables can actually hold data, considering conversation, and be able to use that later on inside of the visual workflow. So it's pretty cool. If you've ever done development, having variables is awesome because now you can actually hold something in memory in real time and then use that variable. If you take a look here, it's cool. And I guess I'll have to exit this in order to, goodness, every time I do this, I always get this, every time I blow this up, it just never works right here. But anyway, you've got these variables, just speaking of variables here at the top, and you've also got like a global prompt area right here. But if you typically look, variables can be configured just like this. Notice that they're the same kind of format as if you were doing custom values. So you can have the same type of custom value thing inside of these things for variables and then access the variable data from anywhere you're at inside of this particular flow. So that's pretty cool. And then likewise, if it makes it, see if I can, and this thing is just not working here. Give me a second. I'm trying to get to the global prompt, but this right here, again, global prompt, this is what is the purpose of this flow? You see what I mean? So this right here is just a global configuration that they have, if you want to, the overall purpose of the bot. And then inside of the agents can be very particular about what they're asking for at each particular level. But let me see if I can, there we go. Now, I'm going to go back into the design, but just while I'm up here, you can go through and run like tests on these things, but also there's a publish button. I want to make sure that you understand right now, if you're dealing with Agent Studio, you can publish something, but when you publish it inside of this particular bot, there is no, and I want you to think about this bot as something that once you publish it, it's turned on, it's activated, it's running. Do you see what I mean? It's not like a workflow. It's not like you can assign people to it. This is a process, a business process that you're putting in place. And when you publish this, you're turning that business process on. Now, here's the problem right now. There's no way to turn the damn thing on. Unfortunately, there's a publish method, but if you publish it and things aren't working right, the only thing you can do to make it stop working is to delete it, which, yes, I can already understand people out there. You're freaking kidding me? Now, of course, inside of the current Agent Studio, there is no clone, there is no copy, there is nothing. So you can't make a duplicate of it. So if this thing doesn't work and you have to sit back and revert, you have to rebuild the entire agent from scratch. drag and drop all the prompts. So please, initially, when you're doing this, if you're designing a kick butt bot inside of Agent Studio, please make a note, document everything that you're doing, record the prompts, because you might actually have to delete the bot to have it stop working and recreate it again if it's something that's not working right, because there is no unpublished, at least at this time. So I found that very strange, but hey. But anyway, looking at the builder here, these are all the elements that you can simply drag an element like an agent onto the screen. You get a prompt. If I want to just get rid of it, choose whatever it is, add a variable, save. Now, this is what the agent is. If I wanted to, now I can give this agent additional items that I might want this thing to look at. So if I wanted to, I could drag like a search knowledge base on there. So here from the knowledge base, I could choose from any of the other knowledge bases I have. Let's just say plumbers here and click save. So now if you take a look here, this agent, look here. Now the agent has the full knowledge of that knowledge base, but only that agent. So that means another agent may not have that knowledge base, because the agent further down the flow may need to have access to a different knowledge base, depending upon how the flow works and which way you're taking it. So hopefully you can understand that. So these are how the components inside of here work. You basically you're dropping an agent here, and then you're just gonna keep adding something. Maybe I want to add search the web. So maybe I want to have this agent have the ability to go out, search some websites and look through some help documents to find questions and answers to stuff. I can sit back and provide instructions in here, provide a query, and just click save. So now you keep adding components to the agent, making it more powerful, whatever it is you're looking for. So you can completely add all of these. The biggest one that's going to be a huge deal here is the API call. So this is where you can start making API calls to outside third-party systems and bring stuff in to really make these third-party elements native inside of HighLevel. So anyway, that is one thing. I'm going to just delete this real quick. So once you do this, you start with this little start button here, and then you've got these little node connectors. So you just drag from start. You want the start to go right to this agent node here. In this agent node, I've got a couple of other nodes in here, and this API call, if you take a look at it. And then from here, I can add additional tools. From here, this now goes to this router. Now keep in mind, the router is this element, because I've saved this particular bot. I still have this element here for you to look at, but this is not something right now that is currently in the list because they pulled it back. But the router is going to be like a brain. Think of it like the if statement inside of here, where you sit back and say, hey, if somebody says this, where I say, let's just say if you're asking a question and you're looking at the intent, let's just say the person says yes, then route them to this node. Person says no, route them over to this node. Person says maybe, or the intent is they're undecided, route them to this node. So can you see the router is really like a decision tree? And this is the cool thing that you can have. You can keep building as many things in here as you want and route them to different people. So can you understand how this works if you're ever combined like Agent Studio with outbound calling when it gets here? So now you can have outbound calling and routing for this particular stuff. Super cool. So again, this is just a visual builder. When you do something, you can just simply again, drag and drop. I'm going to come over here real quick to add an agent just to kind of show you how you would just do this. Save here. I would just simply click on this thing right here, drag it over and let it go. Now here's where you sit back and say edge label. You can add conditions of how this works. And again, not trying to get super complicated, because if you do go into certain kind of conditions, there are variables you can have in here. If this variable equals this value or just something, I really don't know. This is really so dependent upon the business logic that you have, that this is where this line, when you create this, you have to define that inside of the conditions. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, just to give you an idea of what Agent Studio is, how the design looks, how you can add elements to nodes. The elements that are over here, so you have an agent, you have a run actions in sequence kind of node, an end node where it's just like at this point, stop the flow kind of thing. So if you want to put an end node here for this one, you can just simply drag this. It's very particular, by the way. So click here, end node. And again, you have to still give it the same kind of condition, but you get the point. So right now you've got all these other things like knowledge base. These are the actions that you can give it, like the agents, to enhance it. You can throw in an MCP server, API call, and here's some of these other things: audio generation, image generation. All these things are things that you can do and have your workflow build that stuff directly in there. And then if you want to capture information, here's the capture notes: email address, phone number, just some of the other text inputs. Hopefully you got a good idea about this, and at least this video should be informative for you, at least from an AI perspective, solve some of the questions regarding pricing. But hey guys, if you're interested in this, let me know if you have any other comments. I'll be happy to help you out with anything. As always, if you're an affiliate of mine, contact me. I'm here for you. I will help you. I know, unfortunately, some of the sad things are some of the other affiliates do not, or they don't provide the level of support I have. So if you are looking to upgrade to the Agency Pro, you can use my link to upgrade, get all of my bonuses, benefits, access to me, whatever you want. If you're looking to get signed up, use my 30-day free trial below. You can also use that same link also if you're looking to upgrade on that page. There's, if you're an existing customer, click here type of thing. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you and have a great day. Bye-bye.